Sparring is one of the most integral parts of martial arts. It separates the bullshit-o from the actual martial arts that can be used either in self-defense or combat sports. Here's a video on why sparring is important, how you should spar, who should spar, what you should spar, when not to spar, and why sparring is really actually the most important thing about a martial art. Sparring in its many forms, whether it's called randori, rolling, or just sparring, is some of the most important things you can do in a martial art, and the reasons are all kind of the same. What it does is it separates the bullshit-o and the nonsensical into applicable. You're taking your tools and refining them. So when you first start building things, like martial arts, we start with normally footwork. And beyond footwork, we give basic punches and kicks, basically the building blocks of a striking martial art. In jiu-jitsu, it's the same thing. You start with shrimps, bridges, forward rolls, backward rolls, and of course some of the footwork as well. What this is doing is it's giving you the basic tools, like a screwdriver and a hammer, and it's gonna show you how to build something. Now, if I just talk theory at you for 30 minutes and then that's the end of class, you don't actually get any hands-on time to truly test the tool in a non-compliant environment. The fact that we have a tool like a screwdriver, and let's say we have a nail, and we try to use the screwdriver to put the nail into the wood, that won't work. A hammer will work better. So if you have an opponent who's very good at shoulder rolling and keeping their head back, well, you kick him in the leg. You kick them in the leg muscles. You have to be able to develop the tools to actually know when to throw them. If I teach you a combo and it's jab, cross, rear kick, and that's all you have, and the person is just a monster at defending, bomb, bomb, check, bomb, bomb, check. If I give you only those two tools and that's it, and only in that order, and you never try it out in any other order, whether it's cross, jab, kick, or kick, cross, jab, or kick, jab, cross, then you're never gonna be able to actually apply it. Bruce Lee had the famous quote, knowing is not enough, we must do, and willing is not enough, we have to, oh wait. What's it? Knowing is not enough, we must do, willing is not enough, we have to apply? I feel like that's wrong. Bruce Lee had a great quote, knowing is not enough, we must apply, willing is not enough, we must do. What does that actually mean is, if you know all these techniques, but you can't apply them, you actually really, truly don't know them. And if you're willing to do certain techniques, but you don't do them, then are you actually willing to do them? It's one of those contradictory statements that actually does mean a whole lot to you in your martial arts journey. As a tool development, if you know how to use all the tools, but you never use any of the tools, do you truly know how to use the tool? So let's keep going with that analogy. If I teach you jab, cross, rear kick, let's take each one of those individual parts. We have a jab, we have a cross, and we have a rear kick. If I'm able to apply those in actuality in sparring and land them, then yes. If I can apply them, I know them. Sparring also helps with timing. So not only now do I know the techniques truly, I need to know when to apply them. By using timing and sparring in a non-compliant environment, but yet safe, we can actually learn various modes of timing and actually land the techniques that we want to do. If I again use jab, cross, rear kick as my example, but the guy keeps moving every time I initiate the jab, I have to change up the timing on my cross and rear kick in order to get them to land. If I move in and he moves back, maybe I move back, he moves in, and I can throw the jab. That helps develop my timing, and it also helps me build confidence in my techniques. Confidence in techniques is actually most important, in my opinion, in actually knowing what a technique is and how to do it. For example, when I'm in orthodox, my rear kick is really slow. I broke my toe on an elbow, and ever since then, I've been a little gun shy at throwing it. Can I throw it? Yes. Do I know how to throw it? Yes. But can I apply it? I actually have to throw it in sparring. I have to land it. I have to have it miss. I have to have it caught. I have to build up the confidence by throwing the technique or using the technique and continuing to build the confidence. That will, of course, keep building my timing and keep building the tool. So that way I'm gonna be a monster with my rear kick because I'm actually using it in sparring against non-compliant partners. Also, sparring allows you to use various techniques and apply them in sparring in new ways. You can start to build new things with your tools and create awesome, nifty combos. If you only have the jab, cross, rear kick, you have 3 tools. You can have a ton of variations for that, whether it's ABC, CBA, BAC, and etc., etc. You have a lot of different ways to throw those combos. If you add in a new tool, D, your switch kick or pendulum kick or side kick, your lead side kick, now you have a new letter in which you could put and mix into the combos. And the combos don't have to be 3, 4, 5, 30 techniques long, but you can start really mixing it up and being like having a lot of variety in your technique. But all of this is obviously self-explanatory, right? Well, no, because some people see sparring as fighting, and it's not the same thing. Fighting is fighting, sparring is sparring. Sparring allows you to go against non-compliant people and try to land your techniques in a fun, safe environment, hopefully. Fighting is like the highest expression of an art. Whether it's a combat sport art, you're gonna have the top people trying to land the basic techniques or advanced techniques in a really creative and unique way. In self-defense, it's being able to defend yourself in a clean and effective way, causing the least amount of damage to yourself, causing the most amount of damage to your partner, or enemy, I guess, and not partner, enemy, and being able to escape with you and your family. But you can't get fighting and self-defense without sparring. Why? Because if I never throw my cross and I've never landed my cross on a human, I am gonna have zero confidence on my ability to land a cross on an actual non-compliant person that's going to attack me or in a combat sport fight me. And that's kind of my main dig on like certain techniques that are very hard to spar, like the eye jab and the groin kick or the side kick to the knee. It's not to say that you actually can't spar those techniques. If they wear safety goggles or a protective helmet, or you just change your punch from a finger jab to here, but practice your finger jabs on other things, then of course you can easily go from going here to being able to poke into the finger jab. Same with the side kick to the knee. If you're able to control it and touch it, if you could touch it light, dude, you can hit it hard too. Kicks to the groin are a little more difficult, but I like to throw my front kicks right in front of the person, knowing that if it's just a little bit of an adjustment, I can hit. Plus you can drill it on the bag or on other things as well. But again, like I said, if you never throw those techniques or techniques that are so similar that it's just one minute little change and land them against non-compliant people, you're never gonna land them against someone fighting you or when you have to defend yourself. And that's my main argument for sparring. And like I said, it should be self-explanatory, but unfortunately it's not. Certain martial arts also have a bad problem with sparring only inside their own little bubble. And I referenced this with my talk with Professor JD and Sensei Judo Josh on the MAUA channel that's gonna be linked in the card there, where we talk about sparring as bullshido and sparring and what makes bullshido, and my answer was sparring. If you can spar the art and test it against non-compliant or non-willing people, then your art isn't bullshido. But if you stay too long in your own little bubble, you start to create a false sense of security. You're vacuum sealing the problem. When you fight, at least as far as self-defense is concerned, as far as combat sports are concerned, you get the highest expression of the art, but it does limit the actual expression of the art in terms of self-defense when it could be a variety of things, or in MMA. But Jeet Kune Do has this problem where Jeet Kune Do people will only spar other Jeet Kune Do people and then claim Jeet Kune Do works against non-Jeet Kune Do people without actually doing it against non-Jeet Kune Do people. And that's a big contention point, right? Like, if I only spar against people that move like me, throw the techniques that I throw, know the orders of the techniques that I know, and do the same thing against me, it kind of makes it really hard to know if my stuff works against like a Muay Thai person, or against a Shotokan person, or against a K1 kickboxer. It's all kind of thought that it should work, but if it's not actually tested, That's one thing I really like about the school that I have here is we have a Muay Thai program, but it's kind of a blend. We have our base is Muay Thai, we have a little Savate, we have a little Jun Fan, we have a little Kyokushin / Dutch kickboxing. So we have a good variety of techniques inside of one art. So everyone kind of blends into their own personality there. It's kind of like a true expression of Jeet Kune Do, but that's a different topic. So when I spar someone that really favors the Muay Thai clinch, and I'm just using quote-unquote Jeet Kune Do techniques, I can actually be able to apply my Jeet Kune Do against someone who's not just your traditional JKD guy. Same if you look at a jiu-jitsu person versus a wrestler. It's a very unique dynamic. They're both grappling, they're both doing the same things, but if your jiu-jitsu has never gone against a true wrestler, you know, and it only works against other jiu-jitsu people that are playing the game, you know, is it really a true self-defense thing? And that is a big argument against jiu-jitsu as a whole. It's like, it's not real self-defense because you pull a guard and get smacked in the face. And yeah, you're right, but hopefully they're testing it against punches. Hopefully they're testing it, if that's what they're selling, against other things that make it, you know, work against other arts. So Aikido has a problem where they're not doing it against non-compliant people. They always have that punch that goes through or that. So when you start to apply it against non-compliance, it makes it very difficult to pull off. Not to say that wrist locks from it don't work, they do, but other martial arts that don't have sparring is like capoeira. Capoeira only does it with capoeira. So when you try to spar a capoeira person using something not capoeira, a lot of their movement and setups and stuff, while atypical, probably won't work in a kickboxing setting. Would they work in a street self-defense situation? Probably, but you know, honestly, if you're not used to hitting people that aren't doing the jive with you, then I'm not so sure on that. Tai Chi also doesn't have sparring, but I'm not 100% sure that they're claiming the self-defense aspect as opposed to just free movement and keeping a strong, you know, mobile body. Ninjutsu has sparring, but again, it's only against other ninjutsu people, so when they start to mix it in, it might probably lose a lot of its bite. But if you're a ninjutsu guy, leave a comment and defend your art for sparring. Correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I've seen, ninjutsu doesn't really have any sparring. Dim Mak obviously doesn't have sparring because it's not real, so why even talk about that? So all of those arts, if they claim self-defense but they're not sparring, they're not real self-defense. They have to apply the sparring in some fashion against non-compliant people or people that don't want them to do the moves to them and not just being like, oh, yep, you got me, wee. But that kind of leads me to my last point. When should you not spar and what should you not spar? Obviously, if they're a beginner and you are a seasoned veteran in the art, maybe don't beat the shit out of that person because they're still learning. Obviously, that's not good gym culture, but you know, that still does happen. You should not spar if you're injured. You should not spar if you're a brand new beginner because you're gonna start to develop really bad habits. But you should do like positional or situational sparring where you can only throw jab, cross, hook, and they can only defend, and basically we call that 3 for 3. You can throw any 3 techniques, they throw any 3 techniques, but it's not so wild, and if you don't have a good foundation, you won't get hurt. Obviously techniques that have a high injury rate, like the flying scissor takedown in jiu-jitsu, or you know, kicking the knee directly, or smashing the knee directly in kickboxing, or going for an eye jab. You shouldn't really spar those generally. If you can lightly tap them, you can hit them hard, but you don't need to like really hit that in, you know, actual sparring. But I talked a lot about that previously, so I just reiterated. So that's pretty much it. That's my talk on sparring in martial arts, why it's necessary, why it isn't necessary. Make sure to leave a comment. What do you think of sparring? Is sparring a requirement for martial arts to make it real or not real? Thank you so much for watching the video. I really appreciate everyone who is subscribed to the channel. If you are not subscribed, make sure to do so and hit the bell notification so you never miss mine or any other handsome face I have on the channel. And until next time, I'll catch you in the next one. Party on. Thank you so much.